All right, can everyone see the agenda?
Yeah, okay. We'll call this meeting of the Costa Mesa Sanitary District to order. January 24, 2022. And I'll lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you can and follow me. I pledge allegiance
to
to
the
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. Invocation, would you do that, Vice President Schaefer?
My pleasure, Mr. President. If we could all reflect for just a moment and once again ask for guidance in tonight's deliberations. Please give us wisdom in our thoughts and actions. Please be with those who are ill, including apparently Director Eccles, and wish him a speedy recovery. And please give all of them strength to prevail from their hardships. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Let's see, now we need to do the roll call, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Director Brett Eccles, Director Arthur Perry,
Here.
Secretary Arlene Schaefer,
here.
Vice President Michael Schaefer,
Here.
President Robert Uten.
Here.
Thank you.
Do you have any announcement of late communications?
I did not receive any written late communications, Mr. President.
Yolanda, do you want to make a statement that Director Eccles is excused because of illness?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I thought Scott's comment would have sufficed, but yes, Director Eccles is excused from this meeting due to an illness. Thank you.
Okay, man, I don't believe there are any ceremonial matters or presentations.
No, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Yes, Arlene.
could you, at the end of the meeting, honor it for Bill Nelson?
Oh, yes. Remind me if I don't remember, if you would, please.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
And have we received any public comments?
No, Mr. President, we have not.
And there are no hands raised?
I see none at this time.
Okay, then we'll go on to the consent calendar. Do any of the directors have any items on the consent calendar that they would like to have pulled? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Any, whatever that word is. And we don't have listed any public hearings. So we'll go on down to the general manager's report. And do any of the directors have any discussion about the mid-year budget review? It's a receive and file. When we have receive and file, we don't have to take a vote on that. Is that right, Scott?
Correct.
Okay, so then we'll go on down to the PAFR. It's a shortened version of, I believe, the CAFR. And we're one of the few public agencies that take the time to highlight and try to explain in plain English, what's going on with our two enterprise districts. Do any of the directors have any questions or need to discuss the PAFR?
No.
And is this a receive and file also?
Yes, it is, Mr. President.
Okay, so we'll go on down to the item number 3, which is also a receive and file, and that's the strategic plan progress report, which is in your agenda, and it's for fiscal year 2021-2022 second quarter. So it's halfway through the budget year. Do any of the directors have any items for discussion concerning the strategic plan progress report?
I had a question, Bob.
Sure, Art.
No, it's Mike.
Oh, Mike. No, your voices are very similar.
No, Art is much more distinguished than I am. A lot older than I.
Oh, yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, I had forgotten that.
Hey, there was I'm trying to find, I have my computer going as well. There was something in there about the compost giveaway had been put on hold because of COVID. We've done that for the last couple of years, right, Scott?
Yes, but I'd say the last year and a half. It's all of 2021. We didn't have any events, and so yes, about a year
So
and a half.
when you talk about events, we used to give away the composting receptacles. Is that what we've stopped?
No,
We've just done everything.
No, it was an event in conjunction with CRNR and Orange Coast College, and actually it was an event where we had clothing donation events tied in with the compost events. And so once they donated their clothing at the end of the line, they get like 2 bags of composting.
Okay.
And so we are still, as you may know, we are still planning the shredding event later this year. And we're thinking about adding composting to the shredding event. So we're still working that out with CRNR and the city. So we still may have the composting event in this year, 2021.
And the reason I think that's a good idea, and the reason I brought it up was with the advent of 1383, there's a lot of discussion on social media and in the regular media about composting being, the preferred alternative or the preferred way to get some compliance with 1383, and I think we should have that as part of our program. In as well as the AD facility and things like that. So whatever we can do to at least let the public know that we have some knowledge on composting, I think would be helpful.
Mike, are you talking about backyard composting or the compost bags that are given away?
Whatever we do to let the public, it doesn't matter, Bob. It's just as long as we let the public know that we're receptive to people asking us on direction and programs and things like that.
Okay.
Because Bob,
an awareness that the public has that we're working with composting as well.
I think that's a great idea.
Bob, can I say a comment?
Sure.
Bob and I met Scott about our quarterly meetings, and we've discussed that. And I was wondering, Scott, did you have a chance to talk with the staff about that?
Yes, I did. And we're looking into that coordination with the city, adding composting with our shredding event.
Do you think there's any opposition with the city, or do you think it might be a go?
I don't know. I think it really all depends on where we are in COVID. If we're seeing still a high surge in COVID infections, it might put off some people. But if the numbers are going down, hopefully they will by, I think our intention was in April and May,
Right.
then it should be a go. But we're still in the initial planning phases. We still got to meet with the city and do some logistics before we finalize anything.
Have you discussed that with CRNR yet or not?
No, we just very preliminary stuff. Again, we haven't gotten too much details with them right now on this event.
Okay, I just wanted to bring Mike up to date because we have discussed it, and I think it's a good way to go, like you did, Mike.
Yes.
Well,
Great.
Scott, pardon me. Go ahead, Arlene.
Okay, my comment is, this goes way back probably to when we had our office on 19th Street and we did that emergency operations center. And at that time, what we entered into was having the board involved so that the board had an idea if something happened and there was an emergency, what we could do. We should leave our home, go to our office, that kind of thing. Just telling what we're supposed to be doing. And so I think when we're looking at it this time, we're saying goals and we're saying emergency operations center, nothing is in it except for the staff. And I think it's important to have the boards have a direction on what do you do if something happens.
Yes, duly noted. The board is involved when there's an emergency. situation, or if our EOC is activated, that the board does have a role. And so that's duly noted. We will definitely ensure that the board is included in our training with EOC.
Good, thank you.
Scott, who gives the bags of compost? Is that from CRNR?
Yes, from CNR, and it's from the AD facility. It's from their AD facility.
Okay. So it's some of the materials that come out of the back end of the digesters are
Yes.
dried and bagged.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, that would be something good to highlight. Any other questions on the strategic plan progress report, first half year?
One other thing had to do under the wastewater area. Number 2 about smoke testing. We had put an effort into, I think it was Mesa Del Mar and the fairgrounds with smoke testing.
Yeah.
Are there any other areas, Scott, that we're thinking about, or are we just are you guys satisfied with where we are on that?
Not at this point. We're not. I don't have any areas to smoke test. The last rain event we did experience a larger than 2% rain ingress. So again, as I think I mentioned earlier, I want to meet with Mark and maybe look at possibly see if there's some inflows issues leading into the Fairview trunk, the OCSD Fairview trunk, because that seems to be happening, has a lot of inflow.
Yeah.
So once we pinpoint that, we could look at doing some more smoke testing, but I don't have any exact locations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I was thinking the Fairview trunk.
Scott, so that's not from the fairground area anymore, is it?
No.
It's hard to tell. We have to be more diligent to when it rains to go on their property and inspect and make sure their drains are closed and making sure the water is draining properly. I don't believe, well, the last rain event was on Christmas Eve, so I know we weren't on the property on Christmas Eve, but we've got to do remember when it rains significantly, and it hasn't rained significantly, when we determine if there's the amount of rain grass, we have to have at least 1 inch of rain. And so if there's a significant rain event, that we need to go on the fairgrounds property to ensure that they're complying with what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I've always thought that Costa Mesa High School might be involved with that too, with the egress of the water, but I'm not sure. We haven't tested it, but I always thought that.
Yeah, we always suspected it was the fairgrounds, and there was some good evidence to prove that it's quite possible that was a large significant contributor to inflow. It's probably not the only contributor, but it's definitely it was significant, and they have taken action to mitigate inflow.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's actually 2 sewers that come out of the fairgrounds. One of them goes to the one pump station.
Mendoza.
Yeah, the Mendoza pump station, but there is a sewer line that comes off the north end of the fairgrounds that I suspect goes over to the Fairview trunk.
Yes.
There's also some potential perched water, that Rob had made mention of a long time ago, which wouldn't come unless we have a lot of very steady rains to fill up that perched water system, and that wouldn't be inflow, that would be infiltration in the sewer. But that Army base was massive. It's Orange Coast College, I think Costa Mesa High School, the fairgrounds, and potentially quite a lot of area. Costa Mesa High School, if we could walk that area, our staff could probably tell pretty quickly. And they could also put dye in the storm drains, and that's how they found some of the major contributors in the trunk sewer that goes to Mendoza pump station, and that's why we put that flow meter on there. But anyway, any other input on the strategic plan? Let's go on down. That's a receive and file also. Receive and file the annual performance measurement report. Do any directors have any items that they want to pull for discussion in that report?
I would like to hear Scott's opinion. There's a lot of green in the report, but there's kind of some glaring reds too. So can we have Scott just give us kind of a quick synopsis on his viewpoint?
The reds are the ones that haven't been started?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the reds mean that means the outcome hasn't been achieved, or the goal hasn't been achieved. And so our position mean just because it hasn't been achieved does not mean, we're going to reprimand anyone or anyone's in trouble. It's just, okay, the idea is to what are we doing now that's resulting in that outcome? What can we do differently to change the outcome? So that's the way the whole idea of the performance measurement program is, to rethink the way we do business. And so without going into specifics, I know there's a few reds in there. And so I would meet with staff and say, okay, why is the outcome come out this way? And sometimes it might be because it's just beyond our control, something that we couldn't control and it just happened. And if that's the case, I try to explain that in the report. But other incidents, we meet with staff and we come up with a game plan of what can we do to improve that performance.
Yeah, the one I know, for some reason, this one just kind of stuck out to me was the issue emergency, urgent, or over-the-counter repair permits. We have a 24-hour goal, and it looks like this last year, last year was the first year you measured it, and we were at almost 46 hours to do that. And that must have something to do with the turnover with Bal being gone and things like that?
No, actually, if you read the explanation on that measures, sometimes we'll require insurance documents from the applicant, and that can delay time.
Okay.
And there was like 3 applicants that took weeks to get their insurance in. If you take those 3 applicants out of the equation, then we're very close to hitting that benchmark. So that's why I said there's some anomalies in there that's beyond our control. That's the concept that was beyond our control.
Yeah, I saw that. And I understand the insurance part of it. It all depends on what kind of agent they have, I guess. But and it's not a major thing. There was only like six permits required in that category, so it wasn't any big deal. It just kind of stuck out to me a little bit. If you looked
at previous quarterly reports, when we started measuring, you're seeing some improvements, and that's the whole idea of the program, is constantly seeing improvements. So I'm hoping next year, your 2022 report, you'll see that benchmark close, if not achievable.
Okay.
Yeah, no, overall, I think there was a lot of good information in there.
Okay, do any of the other directors have input on this item? If not, we'll deem it received and filed. The next item is the 2021 goals for the general manager. There were 10 of them. Most of them have been completed. Do any of the directors have any questions about any of the goals or the explanation for how they were achieved?
Mr. President, if I could just make one correction. I'm pleased to say they were all achieved this year. So all 10 goals were achieved this year.
Okay. I stand corrected. Okay.
One question, Bob.
Okay, Art, go ahead.
On the goals, number 4, it says that paper shredding and several electronic devices collection programs. Have we scheduled any of the electronics collection programs? Scott?
If you can.
Goals for 2021, number 4.
Number 4.
Can you pull that up for me, Nalani, on the screen? So the goal, go up more, I'm sorry, number four. So the goal is to develop a plan. So yes, so we developed that plan at 2 events for the shredding cardboard recycling event. That plan was to have that event in the city of Costa Mesa at their yard. And then also the city has agreed to provide staffing for that event. So the plan is in place. Now we just got to kind of go over the logistics. The budget, we have a budget now for those events as well. So we just gotta finalize the logistics, and then we can get the event going. But the goal is to develop a plan, and I believe that was done.
Did you develop a plan for electronic devices collection also?
That was just an example, such as example. I think it was just develop a plan to increase diversion rates. And here's some example. You can do electronic devices, collection programs, essential organic materials. So no, we didn't do electronic devices, but the plan was the two special events for the cardboard and the shredding.
Okay, I think that's still a good idea to do if we can.
Sure.
Because they do it in a lot of the cities, Fountain Valley especially.
Well, we do, you know, I'm trying to think, e-waste. I believe e-waste can be part of your HHW collection program.
Okay, do we get credit for that when we have them pick it up?
No, there's no credit for HHW or e-waste. No.
Okay, I'm always trying.
I know you are. You're always trying.
Okay, I thought that would be good to have if we could arrange it though.
Sure.
And any other questions on the goals or Scott's method of achieving them?
No,
If not, okay.
How do you like the CSDA working with them on your different workshops?
It's great. I enjoyed it very much. So it's kind of like my way of giving back to the profession. So you know, they've definitely got me heavily involved in a lot of programs. So it takes a little bit of time management working with CSDA, and then, you know, with my regular responsibilities here at CMSD. But it's been great. I enjoy it very much.
Now, is that for 2021 or is that going to be for 2022 also?
Well, that was for 2021. I'm continuing to provide support to CSDA in facilitating workshops and study groups. I know this year would be the first year I'll be facilitating the Good Governance module for their Leadership Academy. They've got it split up in two facilitators. So I'll be facilitating that when the academy, the Good Governance module, when the academy is down in Southern California. And then my colleague up in Northern California, Hillary Strauss, who's the general manager for the Citrus Heights Water District, he will do the Good Governance in Northern California.
I might make a comment too. It's good for us because we talk about it at the board meeting, and Costa Mesa Sanitary comes up a lot because we're doing different kinds of programs, and Scott's the one who's leading it. So it really looks good, and he's doing a good job too.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on Scott's previous year's goals? Scott and I, you know, as an aside, Scott and I are working on his goals for next year. We have a rough draft going back and forth, and we've had some discussion. And those will be, when will those be presented, Scott?
Mr. President, I did email my proposed 2022 goals to the board for your discussion in closed session.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Oh, okay, tonight?
It's tonight.
Okay.
Read your email
I
box.
got mine.
Okay, we're going down to the engineers' reports. It looks like it's a receive and file Mark Esker's district engineer report. Do any of the board members have questions on any of those items or his text report?
Did we wrap up President's Pump Station yet? Is that all finished?
Director Perry, no, we have not wrapped up President's Pump Station, but the contractor owes me a schedule this week, and we're looking at maybe now, I'm going to say either the first or second week of February, and we should be wrapped up with that station. There's one item that once they pour the concrete in the, what I'll call the overflow vault, we've got to wait about 4 to 6 weeks to spray on a polyurethane coating. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that, because I would like to get this project closed out. But the important thing is to get the concrete deck poured, the site work finished, and we'll be essentially done for that program. And Mr. President, if I may point out three other projects. But Director Perry, any more questions on presidents?
No, I'm just curious because that's in my district and I just want to make sure I'm up to date on it.
Okay. President Newton, on the DI Project 328 DIP, I'm happy to say that as you are aware, we awarded a project last month for phase 2. I just wanted to say that phase 3 is out to bid right now. It opened bids on March 3rd, and I'm hoping to either the March board meeting or the April board meeting bring an item to your board for approval. And then with that project, we anticipate it'll be done by the end of June. And with that, the DIP projects will be basically caught up. When I started, we basically hadn't even done one of them. So we're hoping to get that all caught up this year. Second project is Avamore. I just wanted to highlight that legal counsel drafted a 3-way agreement for us, the city of Costa Mesa, and then 2 property owners over by our Avamore pump station. As you recall, we have some easement issues that we need to resolve so that we can build the new force main. Unfortunately, I found out about a week and a half ago that the city engineer does not have an interest in relinquishing the city sewer easement, even though I believe it was always our easement. And so he suggested that we move forward without the city. And so I'm regrouping, I guess I'll say, and planning to go forward to meet with the 2 homeowners and discuss our easement issue. I do need to have one more meeting with our legal counsel to button things up, but I'm planning here within the next 2 weeks to go visit with those homeowners. But I wanted to bring you up to speed on that one. Any questions on Avamore?
You talking about the city of Costa Mesa or Newport Beach?
City of Costa Mesa.
Okay. So that used to be Newport Beach property at one time.
Well, it seems to be city. When we pulled up the tract map and I did a title search for that property, it all came up as the city of Costa Mesa.
Okay. I'm talking about 60 years ago.
I think
that was that was before. I think I was still in womb at that point.
Those are the days when they wanted to put the marina down there, and that's why Costa Mesa snatched that land up, Art.
I know, exactly right.
Yeah.
Because my dad always wanted to build a home next to the marina. That's why we lived on Harbor Street.
And then one last, I got one last project on my report to mention or bring a little snafu on is Orange County Sanitation has been pretty receptive to us making a new connection to their large regional sewer adjacent to Geisler Avenue. I'm proposed to do this because it's gonna save us money. I think it's better for the environment. We don't have as much traffic disruption, and we save some money for that contract. Sorry about the screen. My cat just jumped up on it. We've been moving forward through their process to have us poke a hole into their pipeline at a manhole location. And I found out last week that, and coincidentally talking to the golf course, they're all on board, and so far they're okay with us acquiring a little bit of easement between the southerly right of way and their property and the OC sanitation box. They're okay with it, but I found out last week that the maintenance staff over at OC Sanitation rejected our proposal, saying that it was too big of an impact on their pipeline, too big an impact on odors, and too big of an impact on solids deposition. And I just don't, between us chickens, I just don't see how 65 gallons a minute, in fact, it's not all day, it's just whenever the pump starts up, how 65 gallons a minute will impact them at all. So I've requested a meeting with Orange County Sanitation District Management to dive into more details what the impacts are, because I believe we can address any technical issue or any impact to their box, because I just don't see what's causing the issue on their end. So, and then any questions on that before I talk about my last one?
No, I was going
Mark,
to bring up Mesa Verde Country Club, but you answered my question already.
So Mark, that's when Orange County Sand District relocated that thing through the north end of the golf course.
Yeah, their pipeline is in the golf course.
Yeah.
And the golf course fence, chain link fence is on the, I'll say, northerly side of the box.
Yeah.
And we just want to, I guess, go from straight across Geisler right into their box, President Newton.
Well, what we found in your discussions with them, if we can mitigate the odors by having the downspout or having a downspout that goes below the, below the water level. That was one way that we've mitigated odors at, say, the Euclid pump station. Anyway, interesting process.
Mark, do you think you need Bob there with you when you have discussions with OC Sanitary?
Not yet. I'd like to reserve that for if we have to escalate this or elevate this a little higher. Their engineering department, and this may be one of the issues, their person that works on these requests is a newer engineer. He doesn't understand OC Sanitation District yet necessarily. He hasn't done a lot of these. In fact, I think this is the first time that a member agency is asked to tie into their system since he started with OC Sanitation. So I think his inexperience may be contributing a little bit to this. But let me meet with their management, and then from there I can come back with another item to this board of directors.
Okay, yeah. When it gets to the board level, if necessary, or even the general manager level, I can help.
Okay, and then one last project. I just wanted to say I made a typo on project 337, the air release and rehab and removal project. It's on the second to the last page of my report. I had said the proposed project is less than $80. I missed a zero. It should have been less than $800.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that even though it doesn't seem like we've been doing a lot of work, we are moving forward, and our plan right now is to remove the air release valve on the bridge that goes over the 55 freeway. I'm not quite ready or to eliminate that altogether. So I'm just running a pipe to the right-of-way point, and so that's where the project money comes in, and so I will be working with our general manager to issue a purchase order to eliminate that air release valve. That's in lieu, by the way, that $800 is in lieu of probably $100,000 or $150,000 project to poke a little pipe, gravity pipe, over to our manhole on the west side of Newport Boulevard. So I think it's a better project. It's a lot less expensive. I think we can do the work in a day rather than in a couple of weeks. And we don't have to acquire a Caltrans permit. But on this one, I just wanted to correct it. It's not $80, it's $800 in my report. So any questions on that, I'll be prepared to answer your questions.
Well, does the general manager read your report?
I think so. I do submit them to him, but he wouldn't have known that it was 800, not 80.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Mark? Mark, you're doing, you're marching right along. If we get the sewer, the wastewater rate increase, you're never going to be able to spend that in a timely manner. So have at it.
Well, you might be surprised. I think Scott will report, if he hasn't already, that I've already expended $3 million this year, and that's way more. That's way more than we're budgeting every year for the capital program.
I agree. So we should probably have a talk about that. Okay. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Let's see. We're now down to the treasurer's report. Mark Davis, are you going to do this?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President, board members. This is your quarterly review of your investment portfolio as of December 31. It's been kind of a crazy first part of the year in the markets. We opened the beginning of the year, the Dow at 36,321, and it closed today at 34,364, which is down a little more than 1,900 points year to date, or 5% drop. And even within the day, just looking at today alone, we saw the market open and then drop drastically 1,100 points, and ended up getting all of that back and then some, and ended up being up 99 points. And really all that fluctuation and roller coaster ride that we've been on is really kind of due to the tensions surrounding Ukraine and also possible Fed interest rate hikes. The Fed has hinted strongly that they're going to be hiking rates 2 to 4 times this year. They do have a meeting this week, and I will probably get a little bit more information from that meeting. Your portfolio is earning 0.620% at the end of December on a duration of almost 2.5 years. We did make 3 purchases during December. 2 farm credits, both 5-year securities. One was at 1.43%. The second one was at 1.39%. We also bought a negotiable certificate of deposit for 3 years at 1%. We are starting to see, as the markets are building in these anticipated rate increases and these other things that are going on with the economy and cost of living going up, we are starting to see rates on bonds move up. What that's going to translate into your portfolio probably throughout this year is going to be fewer securities are going to get called because when the markets were down, we were buying securities at that time as well. And so all those lower rate instruments that we bought that have call features, they probably won't get called this year. So when we do have opportunities to be able to place investments, we'll do that. You can see from these 3 investments that we made in December, all at 1% and above, which is much more than we've been able to do in probably close to a year now. But that's really all I have today. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do any of the directors have questions of Mark?
Quick question, Bob.
Sure.
Hey, Mark, can you look at the interest rate comparison chart? I think it's page 3 of your report.
Uh-huh.
I'm having trouble with my computer discerning the colors. So the CMSD rate comparison were higher than LAIF, correct?
Yeah, substantially. If we look at the at December 31, going from top to bottom, the highest is the 5-year Treasury note, then the 3-year Treasury note, then us, then the 1-year note, then the Orange County pool, then LAIF, then the 6-month T-bill and the 3-month T-bill.
I think the thing that impresses me is we're pretty stable, aren't we? I mean, we're from a fiduciary standpoint, we're pretty stable with the interest rates.
Yeah, knock on wood, we've been able to keep things pretty flat. We haven't seen the big drops, although when you look at when the market dropped, the chart just above that on the lifetime rate, you can see that in June of 2019, we just like the rest of the world kind of went down pretty drastically. But
I didn't want to bring up that lifetime rate chart. That one's not nearly as pleasant as the rate comparison chart.
I would agree with that. But even still, then we were still running about that. You know, you can see on the interest rate comparison, which is just over a 1-year period, we kind of run around that first to third spot on where that stands. A lot of that is due to we're a little bit longer duration than some of those securities that we have out there. We can invest a little bit farther out on the horizon, and that's going to help us stay a little bit flatter in rates and not see some of those big swings month to month.
For me, though, from a standpoint of us, you know, we're handling the public's money. If we can keep a stable level like this, then I think we're doing our job. or that you're doing your job, I guess. And to me, having this flat rate bodes well for us.
Yeah, safety of principle is obviously goal number one.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's it, Bob.
Okay, do any of the other directors have questions for Mark?
I have a quick question for Mark, Bob.
Okay,
You deal with other agencies, don't you, Mark?
We do. I work with a number of agencies, not so much on the investment side, but I work with a lot of public agencies.
Okay, I'm just curious how our investments look compared to some other ones that you work with. Are we better shape or are we just average?
You know, really, that's a tough question because each agency is different. Each agency is going to have their own investment policy, and each board or city council is going to have a different risk tolerance as to what they want to do. So you may see some agencies that invest a little bit more in the commercial arena than we do, might earn a little bit higher interest rate earnings than we might. Those agencies that are have a much more conservative policy, that are investing in just in treasuries, they're going to be a lot lower than we are. So I think that again, going back to what Director Schaefer had pointed out on that interest rate comparison chart, we are going to be kind of in the middle of the road of what we see from an agency perspective. And from those agencies that I serve as auditor on, that's very much true. We see where you're at compared to them as pretty much middle of the road.
Okay, sounds good. I'd rather be middle than at the bottom.
Yep. Yep.
okay, this is approved. This needs a vote. Madam
Move
Clerk,
for approval of the treasurer's report.
Second,
okay, Madam Clerk, would you call roll?
Yes, Director Arthur Perry,
Here, yes.
Secretary Schaefer,
yes,
Vice President Schaefer, Vice
Mike,
President Schaefer,
Mike, you're muted.
Aye.
President Uten.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
okay. Looks like we're going down to local meetings.
No,
We have something under
Oh,
attorney's report.
the attorney's report. All right, so consider adopting resolution number 2022-952, authorizing remote meetings. This is a standard item that we have to allow us to have remote meetings. Any questions on this? So
I have a question, Bob.
sure,
Yes.
Art.
For Scott. Scott, are we gonna have the staff back after the 31st?
Don't know at this point. Because I was telling some of my staff members today, last Tuesday, it looked like the COVID surge peaked in Orange County because the next couple of days afterwards, on Wednesday and Thursday, the number was going down. Well, then Friday and Saturday, the numbers went back up, and that was the same with ICU cases. So I'm waiting to see what the kind of trend is. If the trend is, if the ICU and the hospitalization cases continue to go down the next several days this week, then I'll bring staff back. But if it continues to stabilize or keeps going up, then I might keep telecommuting for another week.
Are you aware of anybody in our staff that has had COVID at this present time?
Not at this present time, no.
Okay, sounds good. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were.
Yeah, so I'll know. I'll let the board and staff know by Friday of my decision. But it just really depends on what the trend is on the infection rate right now. Is it going up or is it going down?
Okay, that's answered my.
Oh, pardon me. Do I have a motion on this?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Or anyone wishing to abstain? So now we'll go down to local meetings. Orange County Sand District. This is a meetings that I'm appointed to. They're non-reimbursable by the sanitary district. I attended. They didn't have their normal operations committee meeting or the administration meeting, but they had to have a special meeting to install or reinstate about a third of their directors from the various cities, and they're all alternates. And I did attend a groundwater replenishment system steering committee. That's a project to make potable water out of their sewage effluent go from 100 million gallons a day up to 130 plus million gallons a day. And most of that water goes up to the lakes around the 91 freeway and becomes part of our potable water system. And that project is probably, it'll be done in early 2023. It's broken into 4 different projects. They're going to bring water up from plant number 2 up through an old abandoned, up through an old unused pipeline to the Orange County Water District site. And there's that pipeline had to be lined with fiberglass pipe. So there's two projects at the Orange County Water District, and they're moving along very quickly. So within probably less than a year, we should begin to see them go through startup on that project. Would you scroll? Okay, we've got it scrolled down. The Santa Ana River Flood Protection Agency, Art, did they meet this month?
No, they're meeting on Thursday, Bob, and I'm going to be out of town, so I don't know if you can attend that or not.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Thursday at 4. Yeah, I think I can.
Okay. So there's no meeting for me to report on this month.
Okay, Director Secretary Schaefer, the ISDOC, I think that we have a meeting coming up on Thursday at lunchtime for ISDOC. Is there any other report on that?
Yes, I do. I'll start out with Costa Mesa Chamber has a meeting, and it was done by Zoom. And I'm a member of the Government Affairs Committee for the not only Costa Mesa Chamber, but Newport Chamber too. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. I didn't do anything to cause it. And then ISDOC board meeting, we introduced our new member to ISDOC Association. It's called Association Member, and that's somebody who's involved in their business. And we want to spotlight someone that is like that. So each time we have something, we spotlight not only our main speaker, but then we spotlight our special district speaker, and then we spotlight whoever's the new associate member that we brought in. So we have one coming in now, and we've discussed a possible program for what we were going to be doing with our our newsletter. And we're talking about, now that we're getting advanced in having our own website, that we're inviting anybody who wants to, special districts that's a member, to put anything in it they want to. So that'll give them an opportunity to be able to, discuss it, and everybody can hear what's going on. And then we also discussed about the holiday dues. So what's happened is the board voted on this, and we're not going to have dues for the whole year for ISDOC. And you will be receiving something, and probably have received it already, dealing with the dues that normally would be due. And then let's see what else. Then we had general meeting along with this is what we're going to be doing for Thursday, which is ISDOC meeting. We'll be having Carolyn Emery, and she is the CEO of LAFCO. So we're going to have her speaking as the main speaker, and then we'll have our Mesa Water District for the highlighted special district. And then we'll have this new man, Ryan Gunstrom, and he'll be talking about his company and what he does. And then I went to Waco, and then also on the next meeting is executive board meeting, CSDA. We had a meeting last Friday, and we'd start out with the executive board meeting and then went into the regular CSDA meeting. I did it by Zoom. I chose not to go up there. I'm not that brave at the airport with all that's going on. So as long as I was up there and did my voting, that was okay. I did find out that I was up for the Alliance Committee that I sit on. In fact, Director Mike Schaefer is the chair of it. And so I ran for re-election and I got it. So I'll be on for 2 more years if all goes well. And then let's see what else. Then a study session. I went to that too, which most of us did. So that was that. So now I'll talk about the CSDA, because that's down for me to talk on that next. So let me tell you about CSDA. First of all, they wanted to thank every person, or I should say any special district that has been writing letters to the legislators for comments, whether it be in favor or against, and dealing with the legislators either by phone or by however means they want to do it. And it was fantastic, the turnout that we had for that. So it has helped us so much. And CSDA is thanking 259 special districts that submitted letters for support, more than 200 special district leaders who participated in a Zoom meeting with legislators, which was fantastic. And then many coalition. We have a coalition going, and some of them submitted letters too, because we have somebody in Washington, D.C. now as our representative for special districts. So we're really getting some mileage now. Now I'd like to tell you about the one that we really need a letter, and I will be saying it again at ISDOC too. This is a ballot initiative, and the ballot initiative is 21-0042A1. And I'll be repeating again later. This would result in the loss of billions of dollars annually in critical, in all the different states and local funding, restricting the ability of local agencies and the state of California to fund services, infrastructure. It also will be adopting now and stricter rules for raising taxes, fees, assessments, and property-related fees. It's going to affect all of us. Amending the state constitution, including portions of propositions as 13, 218, and 26, among other different provisions to the advantage of the initiative proponents and benefits. And it's going to create new grounds to challenge these funding sources and dispersing, and it will actually disrupt all that we're doing fiscal wise. And so this initiative includes provisions that would retroactively avoid all state and local taxes or fees adopted after January 1st, 2022. And if they did not align with the provisions of this initiative. It's really a heavy one, and it's going to affect all of us and all our jobs and all the things that we think we plan to do. So we want to be sure that we write letters to the legislators and to CSDA to let them know that we're behind this. And the legislation committee is really working hard on it too. And it's the big thing that's going to affect all of us. That's it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Vice President Schaefer, are you SDRMA? Have you been meeting with them?
Yes, sir. We had our, we had intended on having our regular 2-day board meeting on the 5th and 6th of January, but just right after the new year, the county of Sacramento basically banned all public meetings. So we had to meet by Zoom, and then we're going to meet again in February by Zoom. But the county had shut down all public meetings because of COVID. We had actually a very brief meeting, a couple of closed session items that I obviously won't get into, but the one item of interest to all of you maybe is we had election of board officers for SDRMA, and I was selected as board president for the next year for SDRMA, and hope to make a difference. But that was really it. There wasn't a lot on our agenda, so having the meeting by Zoom was beneficial.
Any other board members need to report on other meetings?
Well, Bob, I have one I'd like to report on just because I thought it was interesting that I attended, if I can.
Go ahead.
On January 8th, I attended the City of Costa Mesa Voting Districts Workshop.
Yeah.
Like 10 items I just wanted you to think about, which affects us. The only district that was really out of sync for them was District 4 and needs to be adjusted. I'm just going to give some highlights. All districts have to touch. Districts have to be compact. The purpose is to minimize voters being shifted to different districts in election years. Respect voter choices with continuity in office. And the future population growth. Preserve the core of the existing districts. Maps must be fully legal by standards set by the federal government. Maps have to be approved by April 17th. I think we're on track for that. The city had 15 draft maps options, and then at the meeting, they had 3 new ones that came in, but they don't meet the requirements of how the populations are. So I don't think they're going to look at those 3 new ones. The city has full control on how the maps are drawn. And on February 15th, the city council is going to narrow the maps or select one of its choice. And they must have equal populations and easily defined boundaries. So when we meet and talk about it in February, we can think about those things. And the rest of the things I attended, I'll put in writing.
Thank you, Art.
I have a question to you.
Yes.
On February 15th, is this going to be an open meeting that we could attend, or?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know. I think they're on Zoom also now. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
They've been closed down. So it may be in the same position that we are. We don't know, but it's going to be Zoom no matter what. And it could be in person. But they're going to narrow of the 15 drafts, they're going to narrow it down to make one selection, or they can narrow it down to 2 or 3. And then they have until April 17th to present it. So I'm not sure. I think we're pretty close to choosing one, but I'm not sure because we haven't met about it yet. But I thought it was really a good meeting from the demographer's point of view. He laid it all out and took questions and answers, and it was pretty good. But I just thought I'd throw those ideas out to you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Okay.
I attended Waco. It was an interesting meeting. It was actually the farmers in the Central Valley. Well, not the farmers. Everybody in the Central Valley is extremely water short, and so what they had come up with was to take one or more of the islands in the Delta and then put a French tile system in to collect the water, which would mitigate all of the environmental concerns In other words, little fishes and things wouldn't get sucked into the tile because it would go down to the ground. And they're very desperate. This is going to take a number of years to develop, but it'll ensure that, what their hope is it'll ensure that the Central Valley gets substantially more water. And I would think that has the potential also for, a lot of Southern California, because those islands up there they have dikes around them. They're farmed, and with climate change and increasing water and the very old dikes, they're all at substantial risk. So I thought that was an interesting way to get water out of the Delta to the Central Valley and potentially other Southern California. When Art and I met with the general manager, we discussed the Prop 218 notice that had been mailed. We also discussed the staff vaccination process and the beginnings of the CRNR negotiation with the CRNR trash vendor, and some of the difficulties that CRNR is experiencing due to COVID and other reasons. And we did have a successful hire of a collection system worker that the board had approved using a company called OCS. They're sort of a intern headhunter kind of combination. And then we talked about the demographer and other things, but so I thought those were a lot of good points that you all probably should hear about. Art and I had a very good meeting with the general manager. Any other meetings that we need to report on, qualify for reimbursement? If not, we'll go on to the old business. I don't see any old business. Do any of the directors have any knowledge of old business that needs to come up? Or how about new business? And then let's see, oral communications and directors' comments. Do any of the directors have non-agenda items that they want to discuss?
Yeah, I do, Bob.
Okay, Mike?
For Nolani or Scott, the wastewater meeting on Wednesday, this is our official Prop 218 where Scott's going to make a presentation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. There's no involvement. As far as the board, we're just there to observe, not to really do anything other than.
It's not a board meeting, so we shouldn't have more than 3 board members there. It's not posted as a board meeting. It's a workshop. It's like a town hall meeting.
Can we be there but not say anything?
Alan?
Yes.
You want to comment?
Yes, you may.
Okay, I plan on being it. I'm going to participate, but I won't say anything. If any, I mean, there really isn't any interaction the board needs to do anyway. Is there, Scott?
No, it's just
Mike. Let's take a poll. I mean, you can have 2 board members speak, can't you, Scott? Yes or no?
again. I'll refer that to Alan.
You can have 2 members there, yes.
Okay, and speak and be able to speak.
It's not a standing committee.
Right.
Correct?
It's just a workshop. It's just a workshop, public workshop. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not going to say anything, but if I was thinking if Mike had a comment that he would be okay to make it, is that possible?
If you have 2 less than a quorum, you could.
Okay, that was my point. So I'm going to be, Arlene, are you going to be in attendance?
This is February 18th.
No, it's this
Wednesday night.
It's this Wednesday night.
Wednesday. Just, can I go and look at my calendar? I'll go get my calendar. I can't talk.
Yeah. I probably will listen in on the first part of the meeting, and then I'll drop off and go to the Orange County Sand District Board meeting at 6.
I'm going to watch the whole thing. So Bob's not going to speak probably.
No, I don't anticipate speaking.
I'm just trying to.
I appreciate that. I don't anticipate saying anything, but if someone has a question for the board, I'd be glad to at least defer it to Scott.
Yeah. I'm just trying to organize it in case, I'm not going to say anything. because I'm going to be getting ready to leave.
And
So I
what's the,
just want to view it.
what is the date?
It's Wednesday night, this
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
I think it's at 5:30, Arlene.
Yeah, 5:30.
You know what I had down, 3 o'clock was voting district.
That changed.
No, that-
Oh,
yeah, that's a
okay,
meeting with the demographer, and that's not going to happen that day.
okay.
Right.
You know, I could do a meeting for that, but I won't talk.
Okay.
Okay. No, well, I think we have our marching orders. If any one or two board members happen to talk, the rest of them have to keep quiet.
Yeah, well, I won't. I mean, I won't say anything. We're gonna get a Zoom on this?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then the other comment I had, Bob,
Sure.
I guess I'll just bring this up, but I was reading an article in my association, my home in Palm Springs, and our association, my second home in Palm Springs. I guess I better make that clear. There was an article in their Facebook bulletin board about the trash hauler in Palm Springs allows people to put 5 large items out per week. And
Wow.
you can put 5 items out every day of your trash and they get picked up. And Scott, have you ever heard of anything like that?
Nope, never. That's unusual.
You know what I've heard of is Newport Beach is allowing 5 items of large to be put out of a year.
Yeah,
Yep.
but in Palm
Well,
Springs,
everyone is different in this regard.
yeah, I'm just curious, Scott, if you, and I don't go to a lot of effort, but the hauler out there is Vertec. And if you run across anything, I'd be curious about it. And I'm not proposing that we do that here. That would be enormous. But I thought it was interesting that Palm Springs, I don't know who has 5 large, I don't know how many items a week you'd need, or who would have 5 large items per week. I know I certainly wouldn't, but it was curious.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
it's
it.
allowed, but it's probably not very routinely used.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Let's see. Does anyone else have any comments? Oral
Scott,
communications and director's comments?
I just had one on Scott. Are we, did we cancel our Friday meeting too? It was,
The liaison?
yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes, that's
canceled.
been canceled.
And have they come up with another date?
I'll refer that to
February.
Nolani.
Early in February.
Yes, February 11th at 8 a.m.
Thank you very much. Okay, I got it. In fact, I already have it. Okay.
Okay, I think it's probably time to adjourn to our closed session. Nolani, are you in charge of that?
Yes, I will move you to the breakout room.
So no, I guess I'll go into the breakout room and then I'll leave.
And then you'll
after
exit?
Comments, yeah.
Okay.
Just for the record, we're going into the closed session for performance evaluation for the general manager and with conference with the labor negotiator, where our designated representative will be President Newton, and Scott may participate in the first session, but not the second session. And that's, I guess, all we need is a preface for before we go in the meeting.
Thank you.
Alan, is there anything to report out from the meeting?
No reportable action, Mr. President.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Nolani, would you put the agenda back up, or is it
Yes.
the only thing left to do is adjourn the meeting?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, this meeting, January 24th, 2022, of the Board of Directors regular meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much for your
It
diligence.
adjourned in honor of Bill Nelson.
Oh,
former-
and yeah, okay, adjourned in honor of our good friend Bill Nelson, who served on the cemetery district, and many other. He was very active in many associations are near and dear to our hearts. So
Yeah, and
thank you, Bill.
past president of CSDA, I think is important.
Okay,
Yes.
Here, here.
all right. Good
night,
evening,
all.
guys.
Good night.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Director